All right, I'm guessing I'm ready here. Am I ready, Chris? I can see. Hello? Am I ready? Okay, I didn't see the intro or anything. I just heard the music. Okay. All right, everybody. I am live. I am back. And I guess you can figure out that I've been gone for a while and kind of forgot the routine and how things go and how they work, but it's all good. I am here and I have no problems with the moments when difficulties occur. We just work right on through it and let it work itself out because it means absolutely nothing except we are getting to the spaces that we need to be in. So, welcome everybody back to the podcast with Robin Fafmi. So, a lot has transpired since I saw you all last. I believe it may have been in November prior to Thanksgiving, or it could have been after. I don't know. So much has gone on in my life since I saw you last that is just really interesting trying to piece it all together. But I will tell you that I celebrated my birthday on New Year's Day, and that was very exciting because I am so happy and grateful to be here starting something new in my life at this time in my life, at a time when usually maybe myself and other people in this age group would be thinking about retirement, but no, I am ready to go. Locked and loaded, as some would say. I am ready to go with what's going on in my life. So, what I want to do is give you an idea of exactly what's going on. Excuse me for just a moment. So, I want to bring you up to date on everything that's been going on with me. So, this podcast is all about solar energy. Okay. And um, what I do is help homeowners really understand solar, how it works, what it is, if it's good for your home, if it's something that you even need to invest in. So, over the past couple of years since my introduction into the solar industry, I've been trying to figure out exactly what my lane is because, you've got solar companies all over the place. I mean, they are a dime a dozen, and it doesn't take a whole lot to get into the industry. If you just want to sell solar, just set yourself up as a company. If you're going to do it right, you will go through the steps of becoming a company, an LLC or an S Corp or whatever that means, or maybe even a DBA. I'm not telling you how to do it. I'm just stating that there are options for getting into the business. So if you just want to sell, that's one step. If you want to be an installer, not sell it, just install it, you can do that. Or you can be a company that sells the solar panels and installs them as well. If you are an installer, then you have to have a master electrician connected with your company that will have to, in Texas, be registered with the Texas Department of Licensing. So that's what has to happen if you want to install. Now, over the past couple of years, as I have entered into this industry, I've been figuring out what is it that I do? What is it that I do well? How is it that I want to function in this industry, and how do I want people to know me, to recognize me? How do I want them to find me? All of that good stuff. So finally, I understand who I am in the solar energy industry. And I am an educator. I'm an educator, just pure and simple. That's what I am. So my company is Solar Logics EDU LLC. EDU, education, Solar Logics EDU. What I do is teach homeowners how to correctly translate solar energy information so that whenever the homeowner chooses to transition their home energy use to solar, they won't be taken advantage of. Because what I know for certain is that you have people knocking on your doors, calling you on the phone, trying to qualify you to see if you can, first of all, to see if your home qualifies for solar. Are you using enough energy, enough kilowatts per month that would warrant you transitioning to solar? Is your roof in good enough condition? Do you have do you have enough space on your roof for the solar panels? All those kinds of things. But here's the deal. Solar is becoming more and more popular. And with that said, more and more homeowners are starting now to perk their ears up. And when you hear something about solar, you're listening a little bit more because maybe you know someone who has solar and they're talking about their experiences. Maybe their experiences are really good. They're letting you know that they don't have a high electricity bill anymore, and they really like that. And for most people, the problem is the electric bill is too high and it's going to continue to be higher and higher over the years. And so right now, we are in a position where we're trying to figure out how to solve that problem. And it appears that solar, transitioning your home energy use to solar energy, is a great solution. I agree with that. However, I also believe that it is necessary for you as the consumer, for you as the homeowner, to understand what you're getting yourself into. Okay, so I am Robin Fafmy. I am the founder and operations manager for Solar Logics EDU. And what we do, we are a solar energy education company and sales organization. So my goal is, as I stated, to teach homeowners how to correctly interpret information about solar energy so you won't be taken advantage of. So going forward, I'm excited about figuring out how I am going to get myself in front of the masses to teach homeowners about solar energy. That means that, you may be getting email blasts from me about solar energy and classes that are coming up. You may see advertisement. You may see me at events, letting people know that there is a place now that you can come and learn about solar energy so that you make very, very wise decisions if you choose to transition your home energy use to solar. Okay, this is very important. Now, The kinds of things that you will learn when you are in a session with me, whether it is on this podcast or whether you hear me somewhere else or whether you are actually attending one of my classes, you're going to hear me talk about all the basic things to think about when you're considering going solar. Now, I am working with 3 people right now here in the local area. I know I got to get my intro better to make sure that you all understand where I am because I'm so in love with solar energy that I just go right into it. But I am in the Dallas area, the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex area, Texas, and I serve the entire world because I'm educating. So my education aspect can go anywhere. So if you are having events anywhere in the city or nearby, let me know and we can get in touch and work those things out. But I am working with 3 people right now who all have solar, who all bought solar from the same installation company. Okay. But there are lots and lots of problems. And we are in the process now of, I don't want to say trying because I don't use that word. I'm a believer you either do it or you don't do it. And we intend to make contact and correct some of these problems that were caused by this particular company. You know, these solar companies, they really are out here harming homeowners. And when I say harm, it's emotional harm and it's financial harm because you end up with a large bill that you will be responsible for the next 20, 25 years or whatever your contract says. But in this situation, the salesperson came in and he basically promised a lot of things. Long story short, the homeowner signed on the dotted line. But when they signed on that dotted line, it was with the understanding that that particular homeowner or that particular sales rep was going to send them a contract. Okay. So it's nights, in one case, 7 o'clock in the evening. Some cases, the other 2 may have been earlier than after dark. But do you really expect that if I'm selling you solar, you trust me? You are trusting me to give you all of the pertinent information and to point out the things that are important for you to know about solar. Okay, things didn't go quite as they should have. They signed the contract. They never received a copy of the contract. And that's very important because anytime door knockers or solicitors, whatever you want to call them, are in your neighborhoods knocking on your door to sell you something, if you buy it, they are supposed to leave you with some sort of receipt and a notice of cancellation. If you don't get that and the deal goes on, and perhaps things are not working out the way that you thought they would, in a lot of cases, you won't have any recourse. But it takes a detective like me to help you figure it out. And I say that laughingly because I love what I do. I love the details of it. And I love being able to figure out those points that will be in your favor to perhaps get you out of a situation that otherwise you just really wouldn't know how. Now, most people, don't understand how to deal with these companies. When you talk to them, they'll tell you things like, well, we don't have to send you a contract. You signed it, but we don't have to send you a copy. And they'll talk to you from a legal perspective. We spoke to our legal department and they say that you signed it and you should have read it. Well, you tell me, when you go and buy a car, whether it's a new car or a used car. Usually there's a contract involved and there are warranties involved for anything that you buy. Big ticket items like that. You're going to have warranties and you're going to have a contract. But at the point where you sign it, if you are in the place of business, like buying a car or something of that nature, they're usually going to give you a contract before you leave. Okay. And if you have that, then you still have 3 days to cancel. In the state of Texas, it's known as a 3-day notice of cancellation. And you have that. So even though you sign all those documents when you're making that big ticket purchase, you are trusting that the salesperson will be truthful with you and highlight the things that you need to pay close attention to so that you're doing that one-on-one, and you can ask questions at that point or whatever, and maybe they will point out in the contract where this section is that you can go and study further. But I'm saying this to say that you have the right to a contract and you have a right to a 3-day notice of cancellation. In most cases, they will want you to cancel in writing. So if you did not get a contract and you did not get a physical notice of cancellation, then how are you going to cancel? Maybe you'll call them on the phone and say, I've decided I don't want this item. And you've called them within 3 days. Then they'll say, well, you need to send that to us in writing. But what if you call them on the third day and you don't get your written notice into them by midnight of that third day? Then you may be in a little bit of trouble because the notice of cancellation gives you 3 days to cancel. And it's 3 days after the date you sign the contract before midnight on that third day. So, these are things that you need to know. And whether they're knocking on your door to sell solar, to sell cable, to sell anything, vacuum cleaners, it doesn't matter what they're selling. You all need to make sure that you ask, if you buy it, ask for a receipt and ask for your notice of cancellation. Because, a lot of times, especially in solar, when they're out there knocking on your doors, talking to you about solar, showing you how it's going to help you, and you buy into that based on your knowledge at that moment, then you sign the contract and they get a really nice payday. So, what is more important? Is it important that you sign the contract so that I make four, five, six, seven, $8,000 on this one sale? Or is it more important for me as the salesperson being trustworthy and making sure that you understand what you need to know? And then if you agree, you sign and everybody is happy. Well, I'm here to tell you that so much goes on and people are being harmed every day. So listen to me. If you all are adding solar to your homes, make sure that you're asking that sales rep for their identification. And also, if they are door knocking, in a lot of cities, municipalities in Texas, I know, they really are supposed to have a permit to go door to door, which is another reason why you will see a lot of people placing no soliciting signs in their yard or no soliciting signs posted on their door or in their window. So as you walk up to their home, you will see no soliciting. And myself, I would be very respectful of that. If I see a no soliciting sign, I'm going to the next house. But many people, many door to door people will just ignore that because what's going to happen? You're either going to look out the peephole and notice that it's a salesperson. You don't want to be bothered, so you don't open your door. Or you open your door and you give them a piece of your mind, like, didn't you see my sign? Don't knock on my door and don't come back. That kind of thing. That's what you can do. But, you know, it pays to be respectful. Personally, I don't knock on doors to make sales. I don't knock on doors to share my education with people. I may show up at events or crowd gatherings to share who I am and what I do, but I don't knock on doors. And the main reason that I don't knock on doors is because I really don't want anybody knocking on mine. So when they knock on my door, now I've got to transfer my thinking to a state that I question them about whatever it is they have. Sometimes I do it on purpose just to have fun. And it becomes a test for them. And hopefully they learn something from the interaction. And the next door they knock on, they're better at whatever it is that they're doing. Or maybe they will be more respectful of no solicitation signs. But most cities do require door to door salespeople to have a permit. In most cases, they won't get the permit because the chances of them getting caught without it are great. The odds are maybe 10,000 to 1. I don't know what they really are. I'm just speculating. I know they're very high because unless you're in a neighborhood and you're knocking doors and the person in that home doesn't want to be bothered and they know the rules of the neighborhood or the rules of the city, then they may call in on you and your company or whatever, and you can be found that way. But just so that you all know, a permit from the city is required for anybody who knocks on your door selling anything. And when they knock on your door, you have the right to ask, do you have a permit? If they say no, then they need to leave unless you invite them to stay. Okay, that's one aspect. The other thing that I want you to take away from this evening is if you do buy something from a door to door salesperson, solar panel systems, vacuum cleaners, anything, they need to provide you with a receipt and a 3-day notice of cancellation form. If you don't have a contract, then you need to request that. If you do have a contract, you need to read it, like really read it, to understand what it is that you're getting. And the reason that I want you to read solar energy or solar panel installation contracts is because when you make that purchase through the financing company, okay, you're approved for whatever amount to get your panels. You will get a contract from the finance company. And yes, you need to read that too. But I mean, if you have a good understanding, you can skim it, whatever, however you look through it and make sure that you understand what it's saying, you understand the rules, and you understand how to live within that contract. So the financing company will send you a contract. That's one contract. But the installation company, the company that actually installed the panels on your roof, they owe you a contract, because within their contract will be what is called an installation warranty. So when they get on the roof and place the panels on your roof, they're actually drilling holes in your roof, and they're, screwing or fitting the rails for the panels into your roof. Then they mount the panels on top of that. So that installation warranty includes the warranty for your roof. If you start to get, if it's raining outside or something, and you start to see leaks in different areas of your house as a result of the holes that were drilled, then who do you call to fix that? The installation company is responsible for fixing or repairing any leaks, damage to the area that they actually penetrated to install those panels. And this is why you need a contract from them, because within their contract, you will find the installation warranty. In most cases, it's about 10 years. But now I have seen some that are longer or whatever, but in most cases, 10 years. Also, inside of that installation contract, you will learn about your panels, like who's the manufacturer of the panels, what is the warranty on the panels, and who do you get in touch with to replace a panel if needed. So the warranty on the panels have more to do with the inverters that are inside of the panel. Because if for some reason your entire system just stops producing, and you would know that by your electric bill. If you get an electric bill that is, say, zero for most times, and then all of a sudden you get a bill that's $100, then something may be going on with your system, or it may just be that we're in the winter months and there's not a lot of production, okay? And so you just didn't produce that much. But you need to keep a check on your monitoring system to make sure that your panel system is producing. If for some reason it's not producing, then more than likely that has something to do with the inverters. If you have what they call micro inverters, that means every panel has an inverter. But if you're on a string inverter, then that means that, maybe a whole row are on one string, or 10 or 15 of them are on a string. If a string inverter goes out, then the whole string goes out. Every panel that is on that string, it goes out. So you're not getting any production. But if you have micro inverters where each panel has an individual inverter, then if one panel is not producing, then the rest of them are. So you may or may not even notice that, but you need to know that because there are warranties. And that's why you need that installation contract to know who to call and what your warranties are. So that's very important. Now, listen, you all can always reach me at 214-497-7440. And my email address is Robin, ROBIN, at SolarLogix, LOGEXS.edu.com. Okay? And that's how you reach me. I am here to assist in any way that I can, and hopefully we can, get the word out that I am here. That's what I need for you all to do for me, that's what I need for you all to do for me is to, give me a call. let people know that I am here. Okay. If you have any questions, if you're listening and you have any questions, you can call me now, 214-497-7440, or there is a chat box that you can type a question into, and we'll see any comments that may be there and answer questions. But yeah, so what else? I am also in a position where it's very important for me to be clear about what it is that I want to bring to you. I see a comment from Della Reese Smith, and she says, "Thank you for the information." That means the absolute world to me, because if the information that I am sharing about this solar industry and how you all can function within the industry and reduce your electricity bills and not get saddled with huge bills paying for a solar panel system. That's what we want to do. Because I'll tell you, these systems, they're not cheap. The whole concept is that you will be able to put a system on your home and replace your energy bill. Okay, so that means that now your electricity bill comes in at zero, and the money that you would have spent on your electricity bill, you're paying it on your solar panels. And that's what has happened in my case. I've had solar panels for 3 years, and in 3 years, I just paid a bill in January this month. Um, I've only paid 5 bills in 3 years. So for me, that's a good deal. My bills come in at zero practically every month. Now, I do understand that it's supposed to be cold here the next few days, and we are, of course, in the winter months. And it's quite possible that the sunshine may be limited. And if it is, then I'm not producing anything. Let's just talk about that for a real quick minute. How solar works. Most of you hear it, and by now, many people are starting to understand it. What it means is that when you have solar panels on your roof during the daylight hours, when the sun is shining, you are producing energy. The energy that you produce during the day is the energy that you are using to run your household. So during the daylight hours, when the sun is bright, shining, you're producing your own energy and you're using that. But when the sun goes down, it's nighttime, you're not producing. And that means that you're pulling from the grid just like everybody else. At night, you are not special. It's like any of these superheroes, there is something that will interrupt their powers. You know, some of them can't stay up in the daytime, some of them need food from a certain planet. So many different things that people need to be able to do whatever it is that they do. And so far as solar is concerned, you need sunlight. Okay? But the key is that when we actually design your system, we're going to design a system that will match the energy that you are currently using. If your household runs right now on 1,500 kilowatts of energy, then we need to be sure that we design a system that will produce at least 1,500 kilowatts so that you can maintain your lifestyle the way you are now. But The key point is we want to offset your usage a little bit more, at least 100%. That would match the 1500 kilowatts. But what if we offset you 105% or maybe 110%? That would give you a slightly larger system, and it would assure enough production to maintain what you're using and pay for what you're pulling from the grid. When that happens, you're doing good. You're doing really, really good. So, solar energy is, it's the way of life. Our country is moving, or at least programming us, excuse me, at least programming us to move further and further away from fossil fuels into what they call renewable energy. You hear the term renewable, sustainable, green. All of this means solar and electricity. The solar panels, energy for your home. Electric cars, instead of gas, you're using electricity to run your vehicle. And if you drive across the country, you may see what they call solar farms. You'll see fields just with rows and rows and rows and rows of solar panels. In a lot of cases, those panels may be producing energy for a community, or they may be producing energy strictly to sell to the grid. So we're moving in that direction. And if any of you have heard me speak before, you know that I like to make the comparison of maybe in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, before cell phones became popular. Not everybody could afford a cell phone. Then eventually they became affordable. They are actually not just phones, they are computers. You can do anything, learn anything, visit places across the country on your cell phone. Okay. And everybody has one. We were programmed to do that, to ride right along to this point. The other thing I like to talk about is computers. You all remember when computers first came on the scene, and it was just really baffling trying to understand how they worked and things of that nature. But there was a government program that came along, No Child Left Behind. I know you all remember that. In the education system, No Child Left Behind. And that included the introduction and the use of computers in the schools. Once computers were situated in the schools, then the next step was to put the computers in the homes. I know you also remember the phrase, every home will have a computer. But now every home has 3 and 4 and 5 computers. If there are 5 people in the house, 5 people got a cell phone. 5 people have a computer. And pretty soon, solar will be coming to a roof near you. Okay? Will be coming to a roof near you. And you need to make sure that you understand how it works. I do see a question here, Shari Shields. What about cloudy days? Very good question. Cloudy days, there is no sunlight. You are not producing energy. You're just not. So, in order for your panels to produce energy, there has to be sunshine. On cloudy days, let me just start here. The sun is always shining, okay? Because of cloud cover, maybe we don't see it. If we don't see it, more than likely the rays are not hitting the panel. And if the sun rays are not hitting the panel, we don't have that direct current from the sun that hits the panels, then your panels are not producing on that day. If you have solar panels, you will have a monitor, some sort of monitoring system that you can look at either on your phone. You can go on a laptop or a desktop and pull up your system with whatever company is monitoring, and you can actually see how much energy you're producing day to day. You can go to, is it smartenergy.com, create an account there, and you can actually see how much energy you're using every 15 minutes. Even if you don't have solar, you can log in to your smartenergy.com account and you can just see how much energy your home is using every 15 minutes. It updates. So the homes lose energy for a variety of reasons, and you need to keep up with what's happening if you have solar. That was a very excellent question. On cloudy days, the possibility, the chances are you're not producing. So we do like sunshine, and we need more of it to make sure that we get the best production out of our systems. And that is also the reason why you would want to offset your system more than 100%. So if you offset 104, 105, 110%, that should be enough so that when you do have cloudy days, the overproduction of 105 or 110% should be enough to cover for those cloudy days. The only way that your system won't cover is if we have several cloudy days in a row, which is what happened to me last month. In the month of December, between my billing cycle, I know we had 2 weeks of very cloudy days, rain, and cold. So my bill was $100 for the month for that cycle due in January. My bill was $100 when normally my bill comes in at zero. But because I am aware and I pay attention every day to whether or not there is sunshine. So when I saw that, I'm like, okay, it's reasonable. I understand it. And it's a give and take, a ebb and flow. But that was a really good question. Thank you, Shiree. So now we're probably getting ready to close it out if I don't get any more questions, but I am going to get myself together and I am going to make sure going forward that I do my little intro spiel properly before I just take off into solar because I'm like, I love it. I love it to the point of tears, and I love it to the point of just excitement. It just does that for me. Now, most of you listening perhaps will remember the cartoon, The Jetsons. When I was growing up, the Jetsons, they were space age. They flew around in space saucers, flying saucers. They didn't drive on the street. Their cars went into space. That's how they got around. Then they landed on a pad somewhere. They used moving sidewalks or moving staircases or whatever, even in their homes. When they got to the kitchen, they were taking